This is a continuation of our previous discussion about time shifts, which occurred between me and an individual on Telegram. So this is another scene from my initial video on the topic of reality as a matrix. This particular photo from the Curious George book captivated me. I focused not on these odd portrayals of characters in there, but the inherent dynamism of this photo, where you have the string curve in the air as if to depict motion attached to a waist belt on Curious George. In my mind's eye, I can see this being the edited replacement of an actual monkey tail. And now we address this theory concerning the inspiration for the concept of Curious George. So at the end of part 2, I showed you this photo. Uploading the image into 10i reverse image search yielded a profile on MySpace as the oldest current image, and this website, profileliberty.com, is the second oldest image, July 22nd, 2008. And this, of course, reminded me of an unfortunate occurrence with Google search engine, the basis for other search engines. It seems all photos before the year 2008 are gone. Google image search no longer allows you to even put in a custom date range to access those older years. So when I click through the pro-liberty result, I'm taken to a page that says that the photo originated from the year 1938. However, it was confirmed to me by that source that the actual year of the photo was about 1929. So then I'm left wondering, is this particular website a deliberate mixture of truth and untruth? And this is important when we analyze the characters in this photo. The one that doesn't make sense to me is Reinhard Gehlen. I start from the standpoint of verification of the identities in this photo because this photo is the one bridge that potentially links George Bush Sr., aka George Scherf Jr., to Nikola Tesla and to the Curious George concept. As the story goes, I read to you George H.W. Bush, Master of Deception. George H.W. Bush's father, George Scherf, changed his name to Prescott Bush, who, as a boy, stole valuable secrets from Nikola Tesla and inspired the story of Curious George. In 1934, he tried to violently overthrow FDR, had his bank seized for trading with the enemy in 1942, and by 52 was a U.S. Senator in Connecticut. In 1921, Prescott Bush married Dorothy Walker. She was the daughter of George Herbert Walker, a wealthy American banker. And so let's begin our image confirmation here, taking a look at Dorothy Walker. So in a modified colorized photo, she's depicted here as a young lady. I'll go ahead and do a zoom in for you. She passed away in 1992 and so has a genealogy page. This is the image for that page. And so now you can compare these women. Are they the same? Look at the shape of the head. Look at the hair. I can't rule out that they're the same. And now it's mentioned 1924, George Herbert Walker Bush, George Scherf Jr. was born and at the age of 20 became a disputed war hero, the Chichijima incident. And so, you may recall, I told you the alleged date of this photo for my source is 1929, but that would make the young Bush only 6 years old. Here, he's clearly a teenager, maybe about 15 or 16 years old. And I think that fits better with a date of 1938. However, as you see, that may create a bit of an issue for this Martin Bormann, who we'll cover soon. And so it would seem the primary source of information concerning this alleged Bush-SS connection is Eric Orion, who authored a book published in 2021 titled The Bush Connection. In this book are such claims that Dr. Josef Ming was the Zodiac you-know-what, the real Boston you-know-what, and that there's a photo of Hitler supposedly after his alleged death. The 150-page book has mixed reception on Amazon, with some reviewers miffed a bit by the author's use of curse words and issues with grammar. So Googling an attempt to find a PDF version of The Bush Connection, I came across this 12-page document that shows a few interesting images. This is allegedly an image of Joseph Ming, the so-called Angel of Death, who went on to continue his life in San Francisco as the Zodiac K. And so here, in comparison with an alleged older photo, or I should say a confirmed older photo of Joseph, you can do a comparison. Are these the same man? Looking at their countenances, I cannot rule it out. So going to the source of the deathbed confessional, and allegedly the source of the image I'd shown you of the family, Otto Skorzeny himself. The man died in 1975, so how was it that he was able to have a confessional near 1999? Was this an unreal passing? Unfortunately, I was unable to find an actual audio of this confession, and so we sort of have to take the author of the book at his words. This is Eric Orion's blog from 2010, where he advertises for the book. The key claim of the book is that Hitler used stolen advanced American-made Tesla technology and stolen Holocaust money as leverage to merge his entire SS Gestapo with the American OSS after the Second World War to form the Central Intelligence Agency. And so the Curious George Tesla story proceeds as follows. During the 1940s, the greatest inventor who ever lived, Dr. Nikola Tesla, was very good friends with two Jewish immigrants who were writers, artists, H.A. and Margaret Ray. The Rays had just barely escaped from the inns while fleeing in occupied France on bicycles. The Rays were telling Dr. Tesla about the ordeal with the inns and compared the inns to a bunch of evil, devious monkeys. Tesla laughed and then told them his own story about an evil, devious little monkey named George Scherf Jr., the son of his accountant, George Scherf Sr. Tesla told them that George was devious and as curious as a monkey. He was always snooping around, trying to steal from Tesla and getting into trouble because he was just so curious. Tesla suggested to H.A. and Margaret Ray that they write a children's book about the devious, evil little monkey that was always getting himself into trouble based upon the escapades of George Scherf, aka George H.W. Bush. And so they did. They named the book Curious George, and the rest is history. And so one allegation that stems from that is that the agency had a co-author of Curious George, Alan Shalleck, taken out last year, 2006. He was taken out by them just 3 days before a movie about Curious George was to be released in movie theaters worldwide. What a coincidence, eh? And so you have this 2006 film, Show Me the Monkey, Curious George. And that movie came out the same year as Ant Bully, which has the Mandela effect for Fruit of the Loom of 2006. And so now that you have that brief overview of the story, the alleged connection, determining that these two people are father and son, and that they are the Bushes, is very important in this context, just as is determining that he is who he is shown to be. And so now you have the young Joseph next to an alleged photo of a young Joseph. The eyebrows are very similar. Foreheads are very similar. This is a very blurry photo, but I cannot rule out that these are the same person.